and welcome to Fat Squirrel Speaks. Today is Tuesday, January 30th, and this is episode 213. I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. You can support the podcast at patreon.com/thefatsquirrel. Look at me throwing out the stuff. Hi, how are you? I totally just spit at you. I'm sorry. Y'all, what is going on? I hope you're having a good day. This is me being like, I just had an insane kerfluffle. Okay, it was not insane. I just had like a whole like mechanical kerfluffle of lighting and cameras and things and people and heat. It's suddenly warm in my house for the first time in like 2 months. Ugh, I had a hot hat on. I had to take it off. So, you'll leave my kerfluffle behind. Goodbye, kerfluffle. Hope you have a good day. Over there. Not over here. Would you like to put your kerfluffle in my kerfluffle's play corner? They can play together. Let's let our kerfluffles hang out. Doesn't kerfluffle sound like a pleasant word? It is not a pleasant reality. Kerfluffles. Put your kerfluffle in the kerfluffle pin. Let's as grown-ups have non-kerfluffle time together. Okay, let's get into it, y'all. Let's say what I'm wearing because I will inevitably forget. It would be good if I knew what it was. I think it's the Stroker, S-T-R-O-K, maybe 2 Ks you are. And it is a pattern that is available on Ravelry. It is, I believe it's Isolde, right? Is it Isolde who does this one? You see, you think you're prepared because I got the other pattern I needed to remember up because it didn't, and so, but then I forgot this one. Just left that fizzle out of my head, you know. It is Strokkkur, and it is in fact by Isolde Teague. Mine is knit with Beaver Slide Dry Goods. It's exclusively Beaver Slide Dry Goods. I don't know what these two colors, I don't know what any of these colors are, but they're colors. The Beaver Slide, nah. Not Beaver Slide Dry Goods. Bartlett Yarns. Which are awesome folks in Maine. Yeah. Go Bartlett Yarns. Go Beaver Slide Dry Goods. I got some stuff to show you from them too. Go all of our woolen spun American spinneries. Yay! You're awesome. Now, I don't have a ton. I mean, I do have some knitting to show you. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like I've not been as productive this week. I've gotten some spinning done, which is excellent. But I've been having like hand issues, so I've been trying to be easy. You know what I mean? Like, gotta be careful with your hands, right? These are my like need to be Lloyds of London insured and stuff. It's very scary when your livelihood and your mental health and all of the things depend on the like continued health and use of your little hands. Be careful, hands. So I've been trying to like kind of chill out a little bit. I have been playing a bit of the Paperback, which was originally a board game. Well, is originally a board game, I guess. But there is an iOS version, and it was introduced to me by Joanna Spring of Knit Spin Farm. I actually didn't play it because they played it at Knitting Pipeline, and I was like, I can't play in front of other people, and I don't know what's going on. Sometimes, like, your 12-year-old self just rears her head. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, oh no, I feel uncomfortable trying to learn games in front of other people. And I do. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I have some serious concentration issues. You can't tell. But, like, why did I care? Hello, who cares if I look like an idiot? Also this. But sometimes, again, that 12-year-old self is just like, hey, 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 hey. And you're like, later, you're like, really, did you have to do that in front of other people? And she's like, oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. But speaking of, so that's Paperback. And it is actually quite enjoyable. I am not a word game person. Like, Scrabble has no home here. But it is a nice word game because it is a deck building game. So you're like accumulating letters, which is kind of fun. And you're assembling your word out of like the letters that you have in your hand. But there's always like a free vowel hanging out somewhere. And just like in Scrabble, but you don't have to, you're going to have a limited number of cards in your hand. Excuse me, I keep burping, I'm sorry. You have a limited number of cards in your hand, so there's no pressure to do like a 14-letter word. None of that nonsense. You essentially are choosing the letters that you put into your hand. So if you don't have any words that have an X in them, you don't have to buy the X card. Just free yourself of that. You just buy all I's, R's, S's, just, don't be crazy. And there's lots of wilds in your hand, usually. Well, not lots, but there's usually at least one or two, minimum. Every once in a while you get a hand where you're like, ah. But if you have to spell like a 3-letter word, it's cool. You still get to buy a little card when you do it. So, I've been playing the iOS version. I will admit that I started off on the easy mode because, not a word lady. Also not a spelling lady. I tell you what, spelling like short words, I'll have a moment where I'm like, wait, what? I don't think that's right. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's not right. Anyway, so I started off on the very easy mode, and then I finally graduated to the middle mode, and then I tried the hard mode, and I was like, what? This robot is too brilliant. Back down. So I had to go back to the middle of the road. I will say that I get wonderfully righteously angry when they do not recognize some of my words as words. Querent, that's totally a word and it did not recognize it. I even spelled it right because I checked like 3 times. So I get to feel like very excited. That doesn't happen very often. It's happened like twice. But anyway, I highly recommend it. I don't think the iOS version, it has to be under $5, I would imagine, so. Oh my goodness. So what has been going on? Unfortunately, we've not had a lot of shenanigans. Right? I really need to build in a shenanigan time and money budget. Because we have been short on the shenanigans. But having lots of mental shenanigans. Oh my lord. That's Wonders for, right? So the other day, my daughter and I were talking. Does your child do this? Does a young human do this? Do you do this perhaps even? She loves to watch YouTube and then like tell me an opinion as if it's her own, but she's just watched it, so it's still new to her. She's not completely digested it and assimilated it into herself, and she is 11, so like she's still forming these opinions. But she likes to tell me an opinion, because and obviously it's been presented to be this person's opinion, and like, usually when we present our opinion, we're not presenting 40 different sides to the same story, we're just presenting our opinion. So she presented to me the opinion, and I happened to have a very contrary opinion to the opinion that she presented me. And then I proceeded to indicate to her that I have a very contrary opinion to that opinion, and then I told her why. And I would say perhaps one of my flaws is that I can be in my natural environment. So when I am very comfortable and my filters are not on and I am communicating with people I trust and that I understand trust me, or that I hope trust me, my communication style can be a little bit masculine, a little bit blunt. That's maybe the best way to say it. It might come across as a bit, I don't want to use the word bully because it's really not, but I could see that could be like the negative, like if somebody looked at it and was like, ah, that would be what they would say, I think. I don't think that that's my actual style of communication, but I understand how it could be seen as such. This is a flaw of mine. I own it. I really do try to work on. I am trying to work on it, and it usually doesn't happen too much because again, it's usually only when I'm feeling very comfortable and I'm with people that I trust. And again, we said that already, but it is unfortunately a truth about me. So, moving on. So perhaps when I presented my opinion back to her, it was a little blunt. I don't know. Do I need to dress up everything? Really? Do I need to dress up everything? I was blunt. And then she just looked at me like, Mom, why is it that you cannot just agree with anything? And so I was actually kind of hurt in the moment because I was like, oh my gosh, she thinks I'm a bully. Like, she thinks that I am this like abrasive, contrary, and I am a bit, but it was hurtful in the moment for me to realize that that I have not hidden that well enough, apparently. It's one thing to know the truths about yourself. It's another thing when other people know them too. Oh, it's a little awkward. So I explained to her that, like, you know, as I explained to you, but after it really did actually kind of like strike me in the heart. And I really was trying to sit with it and like examine how I am interacting with her about certain more, I don't know, it wasn't really it was a slightly contentious issue, I guess. But anyway, so I was really trying to sit with it and understand like how I might have come across, and you know, because I am in a position of authority in our relationship as the mother, she's not my peer, so she probably does not feel comfortable enough being like ka, you know, and coming back. So I was like, okay, I gotta dial that back and figure out how to be more gentle. So I was in this like whole like headspace of like, again, I'm a terrible human. Don't tell me I'm not a terrible human. I know I'm not really terrible, but you know, you all have a moment. I mean, I think if you're like a good person, you have a moment when you're like, I'm a terrible person. Right? That's a thing. You only ask yourself if you're going crazy when you're sane. If you're actually crazy, you don't ask yourself that. It's the same thing. So, in this like intense like, and like again, and really trying to be in the presence of remembering what it is to be that age. Now, she and I have a very different existence at that age. We're not at all the same people. We're not all in the same situation, not in the same familial situation. Nothing. I mean, a lot of our situation is not the same. But it was a very interesting experience to really try to like sit in that remembering place. Because I mean, I don't try to remember what it was like to be 12 in my day-to-day life. No, I got things to do. I got food to cook. I got bags to sew. I got gardens to plant. I got things. So it was intense to like sit with that like the painful nostalgia, not the nice nostalgia, but the like remembering what it is to just have that, all of that stuff in your body. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like so, everything is so visceral at that age. Like, just, you feel everything so so I was trying to get that headspace, and somehow it brought me to the fact that when I was not her age, but when I was 13, 14, I can't remember exactly the age, I was reading Marion Zimmer Bradley's The Mists of Avalon, which has since been made into a, I don't know if it was a TV, like a mini series maybe? It's got Angelica Houston in it. It's got that curly-haired chick from ER in it. I don't know her name, but she's fancy. Is her name Juliana Margulies? Did I just come up with that? Oh, it's so tempting to look and figure it out, but I won't. No. Anyway. So for some reason, I thought I should revisit that book. I was just, again, I think it was part of the nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like, part of the... Because that book was so intense for me at that age. Like, it was so... Because this is before e-readers, y'all. And that book is like... It's like this big, and the pages are like biblical paper. Like, it's that tissuey paper. And that book weighs like 8 pounds, probably. I'm not kidding you. And like, I can really remember reading it and it being so heavy to hold. And in fact, I figured out that as soon as I got an e-reader as an adult, that's like one of the first books I bought. Because I thought to myself, oh, I'll reread that book on my tiny little device that weighs nothing at all. It'll be amazing. I never actually made it. I think I only made it through like the first 3 or 4 pages before I just couldn't take it. But I decided to buy it on audio through Audible because I had a credit or whatever. And actually I'm really enjoying it. It's the same woman, it's the same narrator, and I apologize, I don't know her name. But she's the same narrator who narrates the Outlander audiobooks. So her voice is supremely pleasant. And the audiobook is like 50, I kid you not, it's 50 hours long. So it's a value. A value. So I've been listening to that. Craziness, right? If you are nostalgic for that book, or if you remember it at all, I will give you a warning, which I know now. I feel like maybe I was aware of it and I had forgotten, but I don't know. I don't think I was. Anyway, if you just want to live in nostalgia and not know anything beyond it, if you are curious, there is a Wikipedia page on the author that has some disturbing information on it. I've been trying to sit with that information and I don't. Okay, that just got a little too real. I will leave it at, if you would like to know no more, there is more information about the author on a Wikipedia page, and it is not pleasant information by any stretch of the imagination. I began to talk about it here, but I feel like it's perhaps not appropriate for this time. Show, I don't know. Like, it's a little too real. And I don't know how quite to navigate that yet, to be quite frank. I've been doing this now for almost 6 years, and I still don't know how to navigate real subjects sometimes. So, we'll just leave it at that. And we will move on. Awkwardly and without appropriate segue. Okay, let's talk about knitting and spinning, because that's maybe why you came here. Okay, so I didn't show you this last time, excuse me. And I had actually finished it. I had just forgotten to show you. I finished Annie's new sweater. This is it's like the doggone, I have it right here. Don't get impatient. Settle down. It's the Dandy Dog Sweater by Evelyn A. Clark. And that is a paid for pattern that's available on Ravelry. And it is available in multiple sizes and a couple of different textures. And it's just a real basic. You see, like, there's a little thing for the arms. And, I can't remember. I knit mine a little bit differently because they actually have you knit this, like, chest piece separately and then seam it in. And I can't do anything the way I'm told. And okay. I did not. I just knit mine in the round. So basically, I just cast off, like, 3 stitches for the armholes. Made the armholes, and then started decreasing for this chest neck transition. But anyway, it looks really cute on Annie. This is Peace Fleece. Again, Bartlett yarns. Apparently I don't know what your yarn is. This is Bartlett yarns. Again, it's their worsted weight. And it's like a juniper, or it's like some sort of tree. It's not juniper because that's what my beaver slide is, but something like that. Okay. Anyway, it's super cute on her, and it kept her nice and warm. And yeah, all good. I used to think that dog sweaters needed to be superwash. They don't. Your dog never gets her sweater dirty. Or at least, I shouldn't say that. My dog never gets her sweater dirty. Because really, if it's cold enough for them to be in a sweater, my dogs are not likely to be outside for an excessively long amount of time. They're often being walked, which is, they're not going to get dirty, except for their feet, which again, not happening. Or it's so cold that even if they like roll around and stuff, it's not muddy or wet enough to make a difference. So, because we only put sweaters on them when it's pretty darn cold. So yeah. Spinning. Okay. I finished my Tinkerbell's Unmentionables, which is Into the World. And it is Falkland, if I'm not mistaken. Now I need to look. Yeah, Falkland. And so this is a two ply. Sometimes we call it 2 plies. And this is 433 yards, so it's about a fingering weight. It's actually slightly, probably a lighter fingering weight, really. If the truth be told. No, it's fingering weight. So I didn't do anything special. I literally just took the braid in half, like made it into 2 shorter pieces versus 2 long pieces. Is that the best way to describe it? I didn't split it. I just broke it in half. Okay. And then I just spun from that. I don't like strip out my fabric. I typically don't strip my fiber because a lot of times I guess the fiber that appeals to me has like many colors in it. And when I do that, it seems to muddy stuff out. So I try not to do it that often. I usually just, and then go that, and just spin the whole circumference of the original fiber braid. Then I also finished a combo spin. So that was 4 ounces. This is 4 ounces of Three Waters Farm. No. This is 4 ounces of Into the Whirled in the Cripple Creek colorway. And 4 ounces of Nest in the Something Wicked This Way Comes. The Cripple Creek is Falkland. And the Nest is Finn. It's super squishy. I don't know if you can tell how squishy it is. Okay, you can't tell, but it's super squishy. What? And this was, I must say, not that the Tinkerbell's Dimensionals wasn't pleasant to spin, but this seemed to just fly. Perhaps it's because I had the first 8 ounces spun for quite some time. And actually originally I was going to do a different combo spin with it, but when I got finished, the 2 different bobbins were really different weights, like different grists or whatever. No, that's not the right word. We're definitely different wraps per inch. Like way. So maybe that's the reason I feel like it went so fast, because that 4 ounces had been done and had been hanging out for a while before I found a different 4 ounces to go with it. But it did seem like it just flew. So the Cripple Creek, the Into the Whirled was the second one I spun, the Falkland, and it just was fun. It was super awesome. And I totally dig this yarn. Isn't that great? I mean, one of them was just the Nest was slightly more muted, and the Cripple Creek is the one that has these definite more orangey browns in it. The Nest had some, but they were more golden. Anyway, and I think it looks great. Yay! Hooray, hooray! So hooray for yarn. And then currently, here, I'll just put these aside and retwist them later. And then currently, I wanted to show you, because it's a bat. I don't always show you the fiber that I am spinning, but this is a bat from Knit Spin Farm that was given to me. This is part of one of her clubs. Because she's so fancy, she does clubs. I know fancy people. I know that. And so this was the inaugural bat. No, it wasn't. That's not true. This was not the first one. But this is one of the bats from her first club that was gifted to me by the amazingly generous yarn hoarder. And isn't that gorgeous? I feel like the problem with me and bats is that I just don't want to spin them. I just want to like create art installations with them and perhaps artistically mount them in my home in some way. I know that's not appropriate because they will get very dusty and gross. But I mean, look at this. I mean, do you see this like intense galactic beauty? I may have been inspired to watch the PBS series Fabric of the Cosmos while I was spinning. That's not a lie. It's like, I need to hear about some quantum physics when I'm spinning this. And then luckily the universe complied and let me watch that. So it's just so gorgeous. I will say, I love spinning bats, but I just always feel like I'm not doing them justice. And I've taken classes, things like that. I think what I'm going to try to do with this one, though, I think I am going to try to thread ply. And we'll see how that goes. And what that is just a technique where you use, because usually you're applying 2 plies of yarn, 2 single strands together. So this is a technique where you have one that's a hand spun, and then you use a thread, sometimes a silk thread, whatever, a finer thread, and then you ply them together. And so it gives the, rather than just a single, which has a little bit less stability than applied, well, which has less stability than applied yarn, hopefully the thread ply will help add to stability, but also it gives it an interesting texture. So instead of there just being a single, which is just a little flat thing, you notice when there's plied yarns, they're kind of like ridgy, right? So it gives it a little bit more texture and dimension than a regular single as well. So we'll see. Hopefully that goes well. Right. Wool, people. It's the best. Okay. Okay, then let's talk about knitting in progress. Okay, what should I show you first? Oh my gosh, I have so many things to show you. Okay, settle down. I started a plain stockinette sock for my mamaw, and this is Regia. It's one of the Arnie and Carlos Perfect pairs. Did I say Regia? I think I did, right? I don't know. I bought this at my LYS. I'm trying to figure out, oh, color. That's what I was trying to figure out. It's color 09137. So yeah, it's just one of the fun. I mean, I love these Arnie and Carlos yarns. They're so great. And I do really like the Regia. I like how it fits. I like how it wears. Fits. I do like how it fits. I like how my socks fit when they're made with it. I enjoy how it wears. It's nice and easy to wash and all that good stuff. Of course, you would love to knit everything with merino fat squishiness, but like it comes like that, which is pretty exciting. So there's that. And then I'm in the middle of a row, so just take it down. I've been working on quite a bit on my Gigi cardigan. And that is by Devin Vinter and Nitty McPurley. Is that right? And it is in beaver slot. No. I don't know what my yarns are today, y'all. I am a very hot mess. Oh, Devin of Nitty. Okay. This is Peace Fleece worsted in that it's gonna be all right green. So I am about 9 inches under the armhole. And so I have, not quite 9. So I have another 5-ish to go before I start the ribbing or whatever. But yay! And it's short sleeve, of course. I don't know that I'm going to do the stand-up collar. I haven't decided yet. But it is so snappy. It's very cute. But I'm quite excited about the pockets. And did I show you the close-up of this yarn and how lovely it is? I don't know that this is a color that they have all the time. You see, like it has so much green and blue in it. It has like a lot of olive, but then it's countered by this very tealy blue. It's super fun. Okay. Peace Fleece. They're awesome. Oh my gosh, is it an all woolen episode? It totally is. The only thing that's not woolen is my Regia. It's all woolen all the time. This is even one. I'm on it. On it. Okay, so then the next thing I'm going to show you. I won't show you my granito because I don't think I've made much progress, if any at all. I realized I didn't think I was going to get it done for Knitting Pipeline, so I was like, well, maybe I should try to get the Gigi done. Whatever. You know, you're just crazy, right? Like, I'm crazy. You're crazy. We're all crazy. So the next thing I'm knitting on is the Brain Freeze by Stitch, and that's F-R-I-E-Z-E. So Brain Freeze by Stitch Nerd Designs. And this was a cowl, actually, that was given to me by Joanna of Knit Spin Farm last year. It's over there, but I can't reach it. Or I can't see it. At last year's Knitting Pipeline Retreat. And so I had purchased this Beaver Slide Dry Goods. That's actually the one I'm talking about now. I had purchased this Beaver Slide Dry Goods in their 3-ply sport DK weight because I had never knit with it before. And I do like that weight quite a lot for sweaters. And I'm a yarn pig. So I had that. I had wanted to try. So good. And I was just kind of, I had one skein of it again to try, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. And I just kept looking and thinking and looking and thinking. And so then I decided that I wanted to do it with some Handspun. So this is some Handspun that I had recently completed, and it's all these like lovely autumnally colors. And so I thought, oh, I'll make that. So I've cast on, and I have just a little bit. Now I will say that this works a bit better in higher contrast. You really see the texture come alive, and it's super fun. However, I do like it still, even without the contrast. It's definitely much more muted. How are you? Let's hang out together. Let's be besties. So I don't know if you can really even. So it's all slip stitches, and there's that thing where you have like a big yarn carry that you go out and down and catch. So it has some little fancy like gold stitches that are like V-shaped. So it's very easy. It doesn't require you to carry 2 yarns. Now you do want to have a yarn attached. Like you don't want to draw, like you don't want to cut your yarn because it would be ridiculous. And here's the one Joanna made me. So you can see it much better with her white yarn. It looks great with the white. I just didn't have any, well, I wanted to use that yarn, quite frankly. I wanted to use that beaver slide. So you can see though the difference, like how there's the same pattern yet they look completely different. And this is Handspun by Joanna, and this is a wool pierogi bat, and then I think some of her Joanna's own fiber from her real sheeps. So anyway, so you can make them different sizes. Like you can see this one is just a beautiful thin little loop, which looks wonderful and is just like the perfect amount of coziness. You can wear it under a jacket if you want to, or if you're me, you just wear it like this because you're fancy. You can make it a shorter one, you know, that's just like the neck circumference, or this one will be like an infinity, like a double. So anyway, it's very pleasant to knit. I do find that right now I have a lot of stockinette happening, and that might be part of the reason too I haven't gotten a ton done, is I've been feeling a little like I should know really better than to have 2 sweaters on the needles, because it does really, even though I don't need, see, this is the thing, that's what happens in my head. You do not need any more shawls. I really need more sweaters, but you know what I mean. For some reason that seems more acceptable, right? I don't know why. Shush. You do not need any more shawls. You have sweater quantities of yarn to use up. Look at these awesome, amazing sweaters, which are awesome and amazing. And so then I get greedy and cast and have 2 on the needles at the same time, when really I should probably just work on 1. They used to be my rule, 1 of each project type at a time. And I have broken that rule quite a lot lately, and it does slow you down. But what happens is you have a Gigi cardigan on that's all plain stockinette, and you're like, oh my god, if I don't do something different, I'm going to kill myself. Especially since it's worsted weight, which is a little bit harder on the hands. You know what I mean. You've been there. You've been there. I hear you. So that's most of what I have done this week. Should I even tell you? Should I confess this terrible, terrible gluttonous sin? Let's do it. I had a moment of intense need when Brooklyn Tweed put out their new collection. Is it spring? I don't know, man. Brooklyn Tweed. I mean, really though, they're like the target of the knitting world to me. They just know how to make me buy crap. Brooklyn Tweed. Anyway. Their recent collection, which I guess would have been spring, had, what is the name of the stinking pattern? Freya, which is in fact by Jared Flood. And it's knit in Quarry, which is their not quite single ply bulky yarn. probably video proof of me at one point being like, why would anybody knit a sweater out of single ply bulky yarn? Especially when it's so expensive. Why do I do that? I'm doing it right now. Something happened and I just was like, I must have that sweater in my life. Really? Really, crazy pants? I don't even have a good, the photographs are not good because they're all super Brooklyn Tweedy and mega dark. And I feel like this woman is wearing velour pajamas. Like she's wearing some sort of velour jumpsuit. It's not really velour, is it? Is that the right word? I think it is. Velvety. She's wearing some sort of velvety, like champagne-y gray jumpsuit under her. I don't even know what's happening, but I bought it. And I bought the yarn to go with it. Yay! So I did cast on, but I think just out of like an intense need to justify sanity, I didn't want it to just sit in a box, I guess is what it was. So the wonderful thing about Corey is it is a very unusual yarn, which I've never worked with before. And what it is not traditional single ply yarn. What it is 3 single ply yarns. I believe they say nestled together. And then slightly twisted, just slightly. So it is not like it's different, but I like it. It gives you this like little, which I thought was a great thing. They actually send you this with your order of Corey, and it tells you about why the yarn kind of kinks on itself a bit, not intensely. Like Peace Fleece really will kink on itself, and many woolen spun yarns will. And in fact, when they don't, like the beaver slide does not, and it sometimes is frustrating to people because they're more likely to split the plies. See, the beaver slide does not kink on itself, and it's super loose. You have to like really almost cross it over yourself. So it tells you why it does that. It tells you how to join new yarns, like if you want to do some spit splicing, and it tells you how to repair, like not repair, but like to give it a little bit more twist if you're finding a place where it's becoming loose or whatever, but especially after you splice it. So anyway, I thought that was very good. Yay! Of course they did. But, so I knit my swatch. I know it's really tiny, shush. Whatever. And I bought the yarn. What? So this is Corey. Chunky weight, 200 yards, 3 to 3.5 stitches per inch. Sourced in Johnson County, Wyoming. Spun in Harrisville, New Hampshire. Dyed in Philadelphia. And so I got the very dark, it's lazulite. It is a very, very dark navy with just tiny bits of poppy teal in there. It's really pretty though. And it is so lightweight. It's awesome. I really did try, actually, the reason I got the beaver slide, I did not buy that gold color for the sweater, but I did buy a skein of their bulkier weight, which I think is a 3-ply instead of a 2-ply or something. Anyway, I got a skein of their bulkier weights hoping that it might work. But this is for a sweater that has this much yarn in it, you know what I mean? Like for a bulky, because in my size, a bulky weight sweater is going to weigh like 1.5 pounds, even if it's short sleeve, right? Like it gets heavy. So if you can get more yards for less ounces, then your sweater will weigh less and is less likely to stretch out and be just cumbersome. It's just going to be like a beautiful light woolen dream. So crazy. So for example, the beaver slide that I purchased to potentially sample, notice I didn't even sample it, just went with the fancy stuff. It is a similar circumference of yarn, so it's also like a bulky, listed at 3.5 to 3.75 stitches per inch, but you only get 160 yards for 4 ounces versus 200 yards for, I believe, 100 grams, which is less than 4 ounces. So overall, for when you're talking about I don't know, what did I have to get? 9 skeins? 10 skeins? 10 skeins. That's quite a bit of difference in terms of weight. I would probably have to have an extra, why am I trying to do this math right now? But I have to probably have an extra pound of yarn almost of this. Because I think I would need about 4 extra skeins to make up that difference. So maybe just, I don't know. I can't do math in my head apparently. Sorry. Meow. So anyway, that was my justification process. Welcome to it. So crazy. I ordered it originally from Harrisville because they do retail the Brooklyn Tweed yarns. They were kind enough to immediately let me know that they did not have enough stock in the same color dye lot, and offered to either order it for me or suggested that I could also contact Brooklyn Tweed directly because they do have their own online catalog fulfillment, and so I could just order from them directly. And so yay to both Harrisville for being super upfront and cool, canceling my order so that I could go through Brooklyn Tweed and get that. Good, great job with Brooklyn Tweed. They got it here quickly and wonderfully. So yay to our yarn folks all around. Really, it was only going to be like $40 less to buy the beaver slide. So extravagant, y'all. Extravagant. How cute is that bag, y'all? If you're going to Pipeline, you might see one of those. Okay. Okay. I had to keep one for me. Okay, I think that's enough, right? You're like, dude, that was enough 45 minutes ago. And your podcast was only 47 minutes long. Stop judging. Why did you watch this long? You're the one who has issues. Anyway, I hope you all have a great week. Oh, shameless self-promotion. If you're interested in Elizabeth Zimmerman pins or Fat Squirrel pins, they will be up February 1st. There was a delay, not a slight, a significant delay in the Elizabeth Zimmerman pins manufacturing process. So I had to just postpone that update, but now I have both Easy pins and Fat Squirrel pins in hand. I'll put those up February 1st. If you ordered a Huga bed with the cats and the dogs and the teapots and the yarn and the fancy Swedish, Norwegian, Nordic fire thing, those I'm hoping to have out by Friday, which would be like February 2nd. And then there will actually not be a shop update until at the earliest will be the first Friday of March. Because I have to get ready for Knitting Pipeline, y'all. It's true. So that's my plan. Is the actual next bag update will likely be the first Friday of March. So yay! And then before you know it, it'll be time for flipping Maryland Sheeping Wool. I'm excited and a little stressed out. That's what life is, right? All right. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.